Hey guys, Ruckus Gaming here, coming at you with another episode of Tuesday Tips and Tricks. Today we're talking about the Neon achievement. For Neon, you're going to need to channel 9 plasma in a single turn. This might seem a little bit challenging at first, but the defect has lots of great ways to generate plasma to play the best cards in your deck multiple times in a single turn. So let's take a quick look at the run history, and then I'll show you this deck in action. Now, the first thing I want to talk about before we look at some of the combats are the relics that I got this run, which were very helpful. First of all, Toxic Egg was super helpful. It wasn't directly going to affect my ability to get 9 plasma in a single turn, but by getting lots of free upgraded cards, I was getting really high value all throughout the run, and many of the cards that I needed to pull this off are some skills. So Toxic Egg was very, very helpful this run. Runic Pyramid was also a key relic here that I got at the end of Act 1. The fact of the matter is that to get 9 plasma in a single turn, you usually have to play a couple of cards in a specific order. And when that is your main problem or main issue, the Runic Pyramid is the best way to solve it. When you are drawing your cards, you can just hold on to them, wait until you have everything you need, and then play them so you can get that achievement. And Chemical X was also quite helpful throughout this run. It's not necessary. It is a shop relic that you are not super likely to see, so don't feel like you must have this, but it is a very nice bonus, so do keep your eye out for it. Next, let's take a look at some of the key cards for getting the Neon achievement. Meteor Strike was our first key card because every time you play it, you get 3 plasma, and that simply means you need to play this less than most of the other cards that will generate plasma. So this opens up more available opportunities in a combat to get it done. Multicast in combination with that Chemical X was another great way to get a fast Neon achievement, and with very, very few cards needed to be played. Once you have just a little bit of plasma, you can sit on it, wait until you get the multicast, and then that's it, basically. Aggregate was quite good for getting me a little bit of excess energy. Meteor Strike and Multicast are going to require a lot of energy to get the job done. And if you've got a thick deck like the defect likes to do, Aggregate can give you the necessary energy to get the ball rolling. I got this quite early on before the Runic Pyramid, but in place of Runic Pyramid, if you don't find that at the end of one of your act rewards, Equilibrium is another great way to retain key cards in your hand and hold on to them until you get exactly what you need. Draw cards like Overclock and Skim will also be very important to pulling this off. The larger hands that you can draw, the more cards that you can see each turn, the easier it will be to play them in the correct order and get everything at the same time. You know I'm a big hologram fan, and before I even started the run, I knew I was going to snap up as many holograms as I could, just because it makes it very, very easy to reach and find the card that you need. The defect has tons of tools for draw, such as Combile Driver or Cool Headed, but being able to go into the opposite pile, the discard pile, and get what you need makes it very, very easy to play key cards back to back. And of course, Turbo is another great way to kickstart this Neon achievement by giving you the extra energy needed just to get that initial Meteor Strike play in. Funny enough, I started off this run very, very well. I was able to trade my gold for a rare card. I think most of the paths to achieving this are going to require rare cards, specifically Meteor Strike and Multicast, as I previously mentioned. So if you do see the opportunity to take rare cards either from Niao bonuses or by taking as many elites as possible, please make sure to keep that in mind. Here you can see at the top my pathing. I got the first 2 elites in Act 1, 1 elite in Act 2, and then lots of elites in Act 3. So I was searching for rare cards. At this point, I had already pulled it off. I was just kind of digging and having a little fun with it. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Here we are in Act 3, and something that I realized as I was editing, I made a small mistake. Multicast does not actually channel plasma, it only evokes it. You're not creating new plasma orbs, so it will not directly help you achieve the neon achievement, though it is still very useful for generating excess energy so that you can play Meteor Strike multiple times in one turn. We're not going to need it here, though, because we've got a little trick up our sleeve. Now on turn 2, we have everything we need. The turbo will give us just enough energy for this first Meteor Strike. And I'm going to need some energy for that hologram, so I'm going to recycle here. I could recycle a couple different things. Could recycle compile driver. Chaos doesn't really matter. Chaos could help with evoking, or not evoking, but channeling orbs, but I don't need it. Liquid Memories here is a fantastic potion for this achievement. It gives you a free play of Meteor Strike, so now I have 6 plasma in one turn. And Hologram back that Meteor Strike again for the final 3 plasma that I need for this achievement. Now we are just finishing up the combat, but even if I didn't have that Liquid Memories, I still think we would have been fine. The multicast there would have been enough to give us the excess energy for another Meteor Strike play. You could also look out for a duplication potion that would do just about the same thing as a Liquid Memories there. You could double the Meteor Strike first, then you could hologram it back and get a third play quite easily. So there you have it. Not too hard if you know the tools that you need to get it done. Just for fun, let's take a look at the heart fight at the end of the run here. I'm not even completely sure if I was still trying to get 9 plasma in a single turn as many times as I could just for fun. So we might see it happen here. Don't quite recall off the top of my head. We don't get a very positive draw here off the top. We don't get any of our defend cards, our blocks. So we're taking a little bit of chip damage from Beat of Death. Thankfully, it does not affect the plated armor that I have from Thread and Needle. Do finally get some block there so I can play lots of cards. I do get 1 Meteor Strike in there, but that's it this turn. I could recursion for 1 more. That is another way you can channel more plasma orbs. But at this point, I'm just happy to get a little bit of setup and call it turn 1. I want to sit on that reboot just a little bit longer. Thankfully, I had Core Surge and Clockwork Souvenir to block some of those incoming debuffs, though I will have to be a little bit more careful about how I time Biased Cognition now. I've got the block that I need so I can start playing lots of cards. You can see with Aggregate, with Hologram, with Reboot, with Skim, with the Overclock that I have extremely long turns, and I have lots of opportunities to see more cards. So even if I hadn't gotten the very simple and easy 1 Meteor Strike, 1 Liquid Memories, and 1 Hologram turn against the Shapes and the Baseball, I still have a very, very high chance of being able to pull it off again. At this point, I am considering whether to just call it a turn and full block here and move on. But I think when you've got the ability to keep going against the heart, as long as you're not looking at an excessive amount of damage by continuing your turn, you should probably just keep going. Thankfully, we get that chaos there with frost orbs for a little more block, and I end up not being bothered by playing more cards and Beat of Death because I can full block quite easily. That is the benefit to blocking that vulnerable debuff on turn 1. Play that leap first for initial block to avoid Beat of Death damage. And because we are not vulnerable and the heart is weakened, it's not going to be super hard for us to block here. Add a little more weakened just for good measure, so even after he adds some artifact buffs, he'll still be weak from here on out. That darkness potion with all those extra orb slots is really nice. Probably didn't need to play that multicast there, but I don't know. Why not? Just have some fun with it. We're in pretty good shape. Turn 4 is a pretty simple one. We start off with an equilibrium, just not to take damage, though probably not super necessary. The bias cog is going to help those darkness orbs grow up really quickly, and we do use the hologram just to pull back the multicast, so we can use it to do big damage quickly. Here on turn 5, I probably could have started off with a hologram just for the block, but I've got all those darkness orbs just sitting there and multicast, so I'm not super worried about it. I'm not stressing about blocking all this incoming damage because I know the fight is almost over at this point. Aggregate, and now this is going to be 4 plus 3 because of the Chemical X and the upgrade. So this is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for 216 damage off of that multicasted darkness orb. We do take some damage there, but we are not worried at all. Now on turn 6, I draw to fill up that hand. Use the first recycle to get rid of Sunder so I can play more cards. I've got lots of different orbs, so Compile Driver is going to draw a bunch to fill my hand. Again, recycle now to get some of these statuses out. Burn or Wound probably doesn't matter. Wound might have been a little bit better because of Runic Pyramid, but we're not stressed. I was kind of hoping I might be able to get a lot more draw, or at least draw into that multicast and just finish it now. So I'm considering my options, but because there's no good way for me to get any more cards in my hand, I'll just play what I've got. Again, still just sitting, thinking, hoping, wishing I had draw. But what I've got in my hand already is more than enough. Dual cast there. Meteor Strike is going to leave me just short. I didn't really look at the discard pile. I was just kind of hoping there was something 0 cost in there, but didn't come. Maybe should have played the auto shields, but like I said, at this point we know we are good. I've got the auto shields now to block that Beat of Death, turbo for energy, and now I'm just looking for one final attack. Meteor Strike for the win. So there you have it, guys. I hope that video was helpful and informative. If you have questions about any other achievements, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read your comments and then get back to you with a video that's going to help you get to where you want to go in this game. As always, thanks for watching to the end. Have a great day. Thanks for watching Ruckus Gaming.